Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Plan B Success. We have Dilan Jay with us today from Florida. Now, Dilan's a successful singer, songwriter, actor, producer, entrepreneur, and most recently an author. He's written a book, How to Be More Confident with Women, 7 Easy Steps for the Genuine Guy. We're going to focus on that, but before that, we'll also talk about Dilan's journey so far and what he has done. He has actually written 3 scripts, 1,000 plus songs. He's got different albums. We'll find out all about that. So welcome, Dilan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Rajiv.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You've been there, done that, quite a bit of work out there.
I started DJing when I was 12, and then my dad was like, "Oh, that's okay for a hobby. That's a good hobby." Little did he know, my hobby turned into a profession that he kicked me out of the house for much later in life. 21, I got kicked out of my house because I told him I wanted to be a rapper, and he was not really having that. It's been weird. I grew up multicultural, so it's a very odd it's an odd situation. It's very unique when you're American-born immigrant, right?
Right.
When you immigrate here and you have to assimilate with the American culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that has been the most interesting challenge, because a lot of times too I get mistaken for black, and so I get treated very racially, charged in a very racially charged way. And if you come from a South Asian country, you're already dark skinned, and everybody's dark skinned, so nobody gives a shit. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss. I'm sorry.
That's right. Go ahead. Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit. You come here and then, there's light skin, dark skin, and people, I mean, of course we have the lighter skin you are, the cooler you are, which is very much, a South Asian cultural thing. But that came from colonization. Anyway, I'm not trying to go too deep into this, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, it's been very interesting. I had to really battle to be an artist. I had to fight and battle and claw. It wasn't the same as if somebody said, I want to be an artist, and their parents go, here's a guitar. Why don't you practice? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I found early success in Sri Lanka on accident. The tsunami hit, and I had a song called Jivate, which was based off an Indian song called Lal Dupatta.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a sample of Lal Dupatta, and it became a huge song in Sri Lanka, a #1 hit. And during the tsunami, it became the song we used as like a cry for pride and love for our own country, because Jivate means life in Sinhala. Anyway, with all that said, then many, many years went by where I got to tour and be incredibly famous. I was the #1 artist in my country. I won Best Artist in the Country in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had the first Billboard charting single as a Sri Lankan ever, also in 2007. And then I spoke out against a terrorist group in 2008, which was the LTTE, which almost got me killed for another 5 years. Then I had a #1 on MTV's most popular music videos here in America in 2012. And then in 2015 or 16, I decided I'm going to quit rapping. I started singing. And in 2017, I believe I wrote a book. In 2019, it got picked up. And now I'm going on tour. I have a movie out and a book coming out in 2021.
Awesome. And that's a whirlwind of a career there.
Yeah. I think my persistence is what's made it actually come to fruition, because I could have quit a long time ago. I have a really good friend. His name is Ranilu, and he's like a great singer from Sri Lanka. And he's also great at finance. So when he came here, he was doing finance because he was born in Sri Lanka. And, he didn't have the same kind of like staying power because he got a kid and he got a wife, and, he had to do what he had to do to survive. Whereas I was fortunate enough to not be in those two situations until, I don't know, actually, I'm not married right now, but, hopefully I'll have a kid soon. But so I was able to rearrange and reorganize my life at a much later age than most people, you know what I mean? Or
Mm-hmm.
later date. So I've been very fortunate, but I think that you create your fortune, It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like what you were talking about with the Plan B success. I almost feel like Plan B success, like as you say it, should have been Plan A, but it became Plan B, but it really should have been Plan A. Isn't that kind of what you're saying?
That's what it is. Nobody has a plan. We all jump into something or the other. Things happen It's pretty much happenstance in terms of a career or a job or a business, whatever you get into. Then you figure out what you truly love. Then you figure out what you like and don't like, and then plan B is, there's this whole theme around have a single plan, then never have a plan B. Burn your bridges, and you'll come out successful. I think we're beyond that now. People are talking about it's the gig economy. You got to have a side hustle or something, and then, like you said, it started off as a hobby, but it became your mainstream profession.
Yeah.
So anything can happen. So that's where Plan B comes from.
Yeah, I want to speak to that just a little bit, like just your whole, because I like the idea that you've kind of like created here. And
Hmm.
I want to say this, even when I was number one artist in Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka doesn't have royalties, right?
Hmm.
I wasn't making money playing on the radio. I was making money only when I went on tour. I was still working 9 to 7 every
Hmm.
single day in our family business, every single day, right? So I did that for many, many years until I finally got enough, aggregated enough personal money to quit my job and start to try to do it on my own. And when I did, I fell flat on my face, lost all my money, had to go back and live with my parents for a couple of years and put it all back together again. But then I can explain something that I think was speaks to plan B. Then I said, my ex at the time said to me, or my girlfriend at the time, my ex now said to me, Dilan, you're really good at real estate. I studied finance and real estate in college, right? And in the family business, I was working in real estate. She says, why don't you consult? And I had not a penny to my name. In fact, I borrowed $4,000 from Sandra. That's where I was at that point. Sold my cars, everything just, and in 7 years, I made $180,000 saved.
Hmm.
So, you know how hard it is. You and I both know how hard it is to save money in this day and
Right.
age.
Right.
So that was a lot of hard work for me. And I lost it all, doing music, doing this, promoting, trying to be in the American culture when I was already famous in Sri Lanka, you know,
Hmm.
because I was born here. So I'm like, I want to be famous and acknowledged as an artist here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Anyway, when I lost it all, she told me to do that. So I started consulting. I shit you not, I want to say like 10 days, I made $7,500 consulting. So I got 3 contracts, each one for $2,000, and the other one for 2,500, or
Hmm.
something like that. Something, 2 4 65, no, but maybe two. Oh, I got it. Yeah, it was all three for 2,500. And I thought, oh, there's something here. So I started consulting for a group, got my broker's license, and I had to take a break from music and film. Made a lot of money there, invested it, got people to invest in me, started a fund, used that as my plan B, right?
Hmm.
Built out this fund with millions of dollars in it, own percentage, like a large percentage of it, have my partners running it, and then went back at the music, back at the film, back at the art, my plan A. So
Right.
I feel like I am always concurrently running a plan A and a plan B.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And one feeds the other, right?
Yeah, one feeds the other all the time. Because I'll tell you what, you should know better than anybody when you interview people, there's some crazy ass fucking entertainers out there. They're
Hmm.
lunatics. There's some crazy people out there. And entertainment has the craziest people on earth. So when you're thinking, I'm left handed with your right brain, which is the creative side all of your life, your ability to reason and be reasonable starts to really go away. So for me, it's a lot of balance to own a real estate fund, to be a part of underwriting business, those types of businesses, and have own my own businesses that are not entertainment based because they keep my left and right brain balanced as a person. So I like Plan A and B running concurrently personally.
So let's talk about that, right? So when you had to go back and you really had to you know go back to starting that fund or get into something that, for one thing, you were forcing yourself into because you said, okay, I need to find some stability, I need to find something that's going to bring in the money. So how was that process, and how did it all happen, and how much did you depend on yourself, and how much did you delegate?
Okay, so this is what happened. It wasn't so much that I felt like I had to do it. It was more like I never again wanted to be in a situation where I had no money.
Right.
So a lot of people, when they come here as immigrants, like my dad did, they truly have nothing, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But we, as first generation Americans, we have a lot. we're gifted. We're the kids of immigrants who work their asses off, right?
Right.
So we are either born in a lower middle class family or middle class family, typically,
Mm-hmm.
right? And through our lives, our parents maybe get more rich or may get to a point and then peel off, or
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'd never been in a situation where I truly had nothing when I was born. Even though we'd sleep head to toe, the four of us on one bed, we weren't like poor. We weren't living in, we weren't poor at all. You know what I'm saying? We're definitely middle class. And slowly my dad made more money. So when I lost all my money, half of me just wanted to see what it felt like to not have any money.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of being would I be when I was broke out and poor, right? So I realized I'm really the same guy. My friend even told me, he's like, Dilan, you have absolutely nothing to your name and you still laugh and have a good time. Like you're richer than everybody around you. And that's when I realized that my happiness isn't derived from money. My happiness is derived from my passions, from singing and from writing movies and writing books and teaching people and talking to people like you. I enjoy people. I really do. So with that said, to give you kind of like I can tell you the story. So basically, what happened was I was working for a broker, okay,
Mm-hmm.
like a real estate broker. Now I'm not a real estate stockbroker. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm in real estate. Like I'm not a real estate broker. I was, but at the time I was not either. I found that he was doing these things called I forgot the name of them. Oh man, it's been so long. He was doing this type of thing where people can invest in real estate passively.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a REIT, but it's very similar to it. And what I noticed he was doing was he was paying people monthly, right? And he was collecting $25,000 a pop for investors. And he was charging acquisition fees, disposition fees, management fees. So basically, they would buy. Are you familiar with real estate?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they buy a building at like an 8 cap, and
Mm-hmm.
they sell it to the investor at like a 6, and they take that spread in between.
Mm-hmm.
And that's messed up. For what a $15 million building at an 8 cap to a 6 cap means they make $3.5 million just like that
Mm-hmm.
within 35, 40 days. Which they sucked all the profit out of the building just like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like that. I didn't think that was fair. So I decided I have a better idea. I'll start a fund that does a 10% ROI,
Mm-hmm.
paid monthly, and everything above 10 my company keeps. But we'll keep you at a 10, no management fees, no acquisition fees, no disposition fees, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so people really liked the idea of my fund and they saw me making money, so they invested in it. And I guess that's how it started. You
Awesome.
know?
So, one thing I'm curious about is, you went back to Sri Lanka, you did so well there, and you could have still continued kind of, building your career there. Did that ever occur to you, or you did not want to do that consciously?
I consciously chose not to do that for lots of reasons. One, I was truly the best rapper from that country for lots of reasons. One, I freestyle rapped with gangsters in Crenshaw when I learned how to do hip hop. I'm actually a freestyle artist. I have an American accent and I'm from America. So anybody who's Sri Lankan, Tamil, or Sinhala who grow up in Sri Lanka will never have the same swag or flow level that I do.
Right.
You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Let me close this door actually. I'm gonna
Yeah.
like very simply I could go never ever be another better for cheddar, whether in suede leathers, baby blue cardigan sweaters. I keep the game hot like hand Glocks, Berettas, Vendettas, keep my skills moving like postal letters. Or an East Coast vibe, flows venomous, rap better, but on a top flow, boss, you still in your tenement, think flows is heaven sent. Like they're never gonna really know those words, this vernacularism so American. You know what I mean? So when I got there, I was already mostly better than everybody already just because of my accent and my ability to spit words. So A, there's no challenge, right? When you're
Hmm.
doing that, when you're doing something, you want a challenge. B, there's no money. If you're from India, I think they have royalties in India. So if your
Hmm.
music's
They do.
playing, yeah. So if your music's playing on the radio, you're rich. If my music had the royalties it was supposed to get over the last 10 years, I wouldn't. I'd be kicking back on a beach right now.
Hmm.
I have music playing on the radio right now in Sri Lanka and no money to receive from it.
What about the Sinhalese rap? Did you do that? That the song that you talked
Uh,
about, Jivite?
yeah, so Jivite was a hook. Jivite gani yanne me himai. Some I had a girl sing it.
Hmm.
Uh, I never really rapped in Sinhala because my Sinhala is good, but not rappability wise. It's like I speak Spanish fluently, but would I rap in Spanish? Probably not. You know?
What about the movie scene there in Sri Lanka?
Yeah. So you remember the movie Lagan?
Yeah.
So we have a version of that movie called Singhava Lokana. So I play the main actor in that film.
Oh, awesome. Hmm.
Yeah. So I love doing film there, but once again, I don't find it very challenging because I was born here. So when
Hmm.
I look at a good actor, I'm looking at Matthew McConaughey or Leonardo DiCaprio. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
When I got there and I had to audition for Singhava Lokana, I got there and everyone's speaking Sinhala, right? They're doing their auditions in Sinhala, and because my Sinhala isn't tight like theirs, I did my audition in English.
Hmm.
I did my audition in English, and nobody thought I can act, okay? Because I'm like an American coming into this art, this very small group of artists, right? Our film community is pretty small in Sri Lanka. And I did my thing, and after that, every single person said to me, "Oh my God, your acting is incredible," you know. And I got the lead role, and that was my first film in Sri Lanka, right?
And when was this?
This was 2010, 11.
Okay.
And I've always wanted to be an actor, but acting has been the most natural skill. So this is an interesting thing. Acting has been by far the most natural skill I have. Rapping took a lot of work, 10 years. Singing took a lot of work, and I still have more work to do there. Um, real estate is real estate's just a business. Just like you have
Mm.
to learn that. It's not, what I mean. But writing books, lot of work, because when you write a book, the style, your diction, the verbiage, you know what I mean. It's hard. These are things you have to learn. Writing a film, oh my God, that's about the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Seriously, I'm still struggling. We got a movie that we're doing right now that I actually owe somebody a rewrite on. Where the hell did that go? Oh, it's somewhere around here.
So you said three scripts, right? So which ones are those?
So we have Crossing Over. We have You Can Do It, and then I have a TV show called Align. And then there's one more, but I haven't seen it in a while. It was a action film that I had to write. So they'll all get done. They'll all get done. It's just I've been quite busy this last 2 years.
And what are
Uh,
these? Are these movies for the US?
yeah, they're all U.S. films. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
And yeah, go ahead.
go ahead.
Now I was going to ask, have you written anything for Sri Lanka?
No.
Okay.
So in fact, believe it or not, Rajiv, there's a movie they wrote about me called King of Ceylon, about when I spoke out against the terrorist group, the LTTE, because they actually did try to kill me. I got death threats. I had protection from my government. There's a pretty serious scenario that happened there.
And when was this?
2008.
Hmm. Okay.
And so I got during when I was shooting my film in 2010. I was still getting harassed by like ex LTTE members or like factions of the LTTE. And so the guys on the film crew seen my phone blowing up like in Sinhala and Tamil, saying, "We're gonna fucking find you and we're gonna kill you." So I always had to have protection in Sri Lanka for a while because you don't know if someone's gonna come up to you and shake your hand or come up to you and stab you. Like that's the kind of terrorist group we're talking about here. It's pretty scary stuff.
Are you still doing anything in Sri Lanka, or pretty much propagating your career there, or not so much now?
Not so much. Not so much. I think the best way to make Sri Lanka more visible in the public eye is to flourish and prosper here. Now, we've had some great people already flourish and prosper here that aren't Sri Lankan but are Indian, like Mindy Kaling, Aziz Ansari, Cal Penn, all these like really great moving on up. So we had Jay Sean in music. Like, So I got to keep pushing that line. I don't consider Sri Lankans and Indians that different, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, you're right.
I consider us like one whole group, and if we can be considered and respected as a race, I would be happy about that. Because growing up, I was picked on a lot, and I don't think that's fair.
Hmm.
Back when I was a kid, it was like every Indian worked at 7-Eleven. It's like, come on, man. Now every Indian's a doctor or an engineer. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's like, but for an Indian to be an entertainer is like a joke. So there has to be people who change that idea about it.
Yeah.
So
That's
I feel like I'm more important here than I am there.
right, and I think it's happening now with so many people kind of getting into that entertainment scene. So, where did the books come about? How did you end up writing these books?
Yeah, so the book came about on accident. I was on tour, and a guy that I met while I was out on tour asked me, how do I go up and talk to anybody all the time? And I was with my ex at the time, and I told her to voice record this conversation because I thought it was going to be interesting. And I broke them down all the rules of walking up to people, like all the rules.
Hmm.
And it's not anything secret. It's very simple, but in the book I talk about your intention with your approach. How to what's the second chapter is watch and learn, how to know your environment, to know who actually wants to talk to you and who doesn't. Touch and go, chapter 3 or step 3, which is, when you meet someone, don't hang around for so long. Meet someone, say hello, and be on your way. That's chapter 3. Chapter 4 is, I suck at my own book because I don't remember it. Um, Hold on, let me see.
Did you self-publish it, or was it through a publisher?
No, it's published through Morgan James Publishing. It's a New York publishing house. Um, let's see, how to be more confident. So it's currently available on Barnes and Nobles and on Amazon.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so if it was a self-published thing, I wouldn't have done it probably, to be honest with you,
Hmm.
because I already have so many projects. I'm not interested in starting another. So step 4 was the hierarchy, power, and numbers, and that's like how to use people and groups to make yourself look even bigger than who you are.
Hmm.
Uh, Step 5 is diversify your risk. That talks about meeting more than one person in an evening. And when you meet people in my book, you don't hit on them. You meet them as friends, just by the way. So
Hmm.
this isn't like a tactic to go hit on chicks. So step 1 is always the most important. The approach. What's your intention? Your intention should be to become someone's friend, to add, honest and communication that has integrity, right?
Hmm.
It's not to go up to her and ask her for a number, wonder if she's going to fuck you. Like, that's not what this book's about, right? And it's
Hmm.
actually not how I approach any woman or man pretty much most of my life. You
Hmm.
understand?
Hmm.
So that's what diversify your risk is. Step 7 is build your network, which has to do with going out and finding the things you love and becoming parts of those things, because that's the best place to find girls who actually like the same things you like. And step 7 is knowing what you're looking for. So then I talk about like the importance of shared reality, the importance of similar intelligence. I talk about a diamond structure basically, and in the
Hmm.
diamond structure, I talk about how with men, looks is always the number one thing they look at, and then sex, belief system, success, shared interest, and energy level just seem to all smash together at the bottom.
Hmm.
Whereas I turn the triangle from this way to this way, and I say the things that people should look at is finding someone who's similar in intelligence, shared interest, energy level, and belief system. And belief system not being God, but like, do I yell at my kids? Do I argue with you now? Do I go to sleep on an argument? Those types of belief systems. Then sex, then looks, and at the very bottom is success, because with the right partner, you'll always find success.
Hmm.
So those are the 7 steps to the book, and I broke all that down in an audio, and then I got it transcribed on Scribby.com, and then I started breaking that down into a book. And he's like, "Bro, this is great information. You should write a book." So then I wrote a book, and then
Awesome.
I wasn't going to do shit with it, to be honest with you. But then we took it to some publishers, and a female read it, and she's like, "Man, I've never read a book that a male wrote that wasn't a sleazy piece of shit book about hitting on chicks. I love this book. Can we publish it?" So that's how we ended up here today.
So this you said is your second book, right? You had one before this? Oh, this is your very first one. Okay, awesome, awesome. So, so what do you think? You've done so much. So, what are your future plans? Where are you going to go with this?
Yeah, so we have to make a movie this year. So after I finish the script, it's already to budgeting and scheduling. We're like, I'd say we're about 75, 80% not done with the script, but done with revisions of the script. We already have the development funding for that. So we have to shoot that movie. I have about 70 to 100 shows to do this year on tour. So my first 20 shows start in April or May. So I have to do that. I have this book that I want to make successful. So I have a bunch of book tour events that I need to do this year. And then I have a drink that I'm putting out, which is called it's an herbal energy shot. Which next time we talk, which I think we should talk in like a month, um, I'll show you that one. And
Awesome,
so that's the future. Is just to focus on the present.
awesome. You got your hands busy.
Yeah, I'm really busy. I'm really busy.
So for people who want to reach out or who want to find out more about, let's say, your real estate business or some of these other creative ventures that you're doing, how do they find you and how do they reach out to interact?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the best way to interact with me is just go to Instagram and DM me. I don't have Instagram on my phone, so don't take it personal when I don't answer, but I check it like every 4 days, for messages and
Hmm.
requests on messages. I think if you go to DilanJay.com and you leave a message there, I'm so easy to reach. It's really not that hard to reach me. You know what I mean? Um, I mean, those are the two best ways. I mean, I'm on TikTok. I'm on social media. It's like not that hard to find me. Also, if you just Google my name, Dilan Jay, you'll see like all the stuff I've done. You could just click right there, Instagram.
Awesome. So, Dylan, this has been very enlightening learning about you, your journey so far, your future plans, and all. Before I let you go, one takeaway for the listeners, anything that you'd like to share from your life and experiences that they can use to their benefit.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. For all of you who want to be successful in life, the number one thing is to keep doing the thing that you want to be successful at. Which means that if you want to fly planes, you'd have to fly planes a lot to be good at it. If you want to be a great artist, you'd have to write a lot of songs and perform a lot of songs. A lot. I would say that's step number one. Step number two, never give a shit what people think about you or what you're creating. Forget about them. They don't see the same vision as you see. As long as you keep creating it, don't listen to others. Just continue to do your job. Your job is what you're trying to do. Every day people go to work 8 to 5, so they usually get good at their job. If you did your plan B as many hours as you did your plan A, you'd be excellent at your plan B. So the doingness of your job, not the theory, the doingness of your job is number one important. The ability to not listen and allow people to invalidate or evaluate your work is also step two of your ability to be successful. Because a lot of people skew off into different directions when they say, "Hey, Dilan, I think I like your rap, but I think you should rap about girls," or "I think you should do this here." Man, fuck them. Who cares about them? And then the last thing is, well, I'd say those are the two things, and you'll find your success in time. You will.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you the very best as you get started with 2021 and all your projects, and hope to keep in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rajiv. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Same here. Thank you.
All right, brother. Peace.